Welcome back to the Ambrosetti Forum, where I'm joined by George Papakonstantinou, the Greek Finance Minister. Minister, I wondered if we could start by asking you about the overall situation in Greece. A lot of people were very sceptical that Greece would ever be able to stick to the reform programme that you had agreed, but you've done so far. Can it continue?
Well, we've confounded the skeptics so far. In 2010, we managed to reduce the deficit in a way that was completely unexpected to most outsiders. The biggest fiscal consolidation done in 1 year by any Eurozone country. We've opened up a very wide range of reforms: tax reform, pension reform, labour market reform. We've opened up closed professions, all these very important and long overdue. And we're now moving ahead. We are presenting in the next few weeks the medium-term fiscal plan going to 2015, and the main elements of our ambitious 50 billion privatization and asset management program, which we think are very important elements in the program that we're convinced that we're moving forward. We've always said from the beginning, this is a marathon, it's not a sprint. We've done the first legs, but there's still much more to go.
A number of observers in Athens are saying that reform fatigue is beginning to set in. Do you think that's right?
I think what this reflects is the fact that we've actually legislated a lot of the reforms, and now it's implementation time. Some have already started being implemented, but obviously it's one thing to legislate a change in the tax system, for example, and it's a completely different matter to overhaul the tax administration. That takes time. You cannot do this in a few months. You need a certain period of time to be able to change structures and change attitudes and change the way the public administration work. Similarly with closed professions, we've legislated the opening, now it's the implementation phase. So I wouldn't call it fatigue. I would say that it's a different type of problem that we're now facing, but it's one that we were expecting and now one that we're confronting.
You mentioned your ambitious privatisation programme, looking to raise, I think, 50 billion euros by 2015. Do you anticipate that foreign sovereign wealth funds might be involved in that? Would the Chinese in particular be interested in
We would welcome any kind of foreign participation. Remember, the privatisation programme has corporate entities. For example, we've started with the gas company. We have the extension of the concession for the airport. We have the state lottery tickets. Following that, regional ports, regional airports, corporatizing them and then bringing in strategic investors. So we're looking for serious infrastructure investments in Greece from abroad. We've had some of this. For example, we've had some very serious Chinese investment in the port of Piraeus, using it as a hub for the broader region. And then you have the land assets. That's very important for tourism development or other similar type of infrastructure development. There we're creating vehicles to monetize this, SPVs for example, to be able to bring forward the value, because obviously depending on market conditions, you don't want to kill the value of an asset until you find the right moment. So it's a well thought through strategy which has phases and valuations in different phases.
Now, it looks like the European Central Bank are looking to raise interest rates fairly soon. How much of a problem will that be for the Greek economy?
Well, any increase in interest rates, of course, increases lending costs. There's no question about that. The ECB always tries to balance that issue with the issues of containing inflation, which is its main task. It is something that is of concern. It will depend, of course, about how big the rate increase will be, whether it will be followed by others. I don't think that a small increase would make a big difference.
There's also talk that they might look to withdraw or at least limit the liquidity support to a lot of the banks from the ECB. Do you think that will apply to Greek banks?
Well, we have agreed with the ECB and the IMF and the Commission to try and limit the exposure of Greek banks to the ECB. However, to be able to do that, the Greek banks must have access to the market. And at the moment, Greek banks do not have access to the market because of the fiscal situation in Greece. So this weaning, if you will, away from the ECB is something that's got to come gradually. You cannot do it from from one day to the next, and you do it as soon and as the market opens, the interbank lending market, for example. Until then, we continue to extend guarantees to Greek banks, who are in a healthier situation than many other banks in Europe, because they did not invest in toxic assets like others did, but who are at the moment constrained by the fact that due to the problems of the Republic and not the banking system, they cannot open credit lines with abroad.
Finally, you had some fairly punchy things to say about credit rating agencies recently. What motivated you to hit out at them?
Well, we are in a situation where we're being assessed every 3 months in a very robust process with representatives from the Commission, the ECB and the IMF. That assessment results in a green light or not in terms of the next tranche of the 110 billion loan. At the same time, we have credit rating agencies who are assessing us without necessarily having the same depth of information that the 3 institutions have, and whose assessments unfortunately tend to carry more weight in the market. This is a problem. It's a systemic problem for countries that are in a situation like ours. And here, one of the elements that we try to bring out in the discussion is that credit rating agencies, having missed the boat in the financial crisis and been behind the curve in terms of assessing risk, are now perhaps overcompensating. And rather than judging fundamentals, they are reacting to the market perceptions. The market perception is such that at the moment the credit ratings reduce the rating on Greece. Once they do that, the market reacts by further believing in the unsustainability of the situation, at which point the credit agents come again and reduce the rating. So you're in a vicious circle. And it is that vicious circle that now I think everybody understands in Europe, that when it needs to be addressed, it needs to be addressed through some kind of European response, and we're waiting for the European Commission to come with some proposals in that respect.
Minister, thank you very much.
Thank you.